So you're just about to leave tomorrow to go teach, but then also part of their visit in Bangkok is our workshop and our symposium, which is where we're going to end up putting together all the different proceedings from our roundtable. So basically a year's worth of work is going to come together this week, this one particular weekend, rather, and then we're going to work on presenting that to the UN General Assembly on Sustainable Development Goals.
Right, it's quite a challenge. It is a challenge, and it will be a challenge, as to how do you assemble all these ideas into a document that will be so well written that it will basically carry itself through its own credibility, the quality of its prose and ideas, so that people will read it and they'll tend to agree with it, but also once they start to read it, they'll want to read it through to the end, which means, a document that's trying to influence public opinion on something like sustainable development or capitalism or inequalities of income and wealth can't be too long. If it's too long, people, with all the use of email and social media and all the things that distract you, all the things that deserve your attention, I mean, how do you make time for 20 pages or 50 pages or 150 pages? It's a serious challenge, I think, in mobilizing thought and opinion in our time. We're going to have roughly going to have 17 representatives of the different roundtables coming to Bangkok. We'll come up with a working draft. We'll discuss it for a day or so. We'll probably revise it a couple of times by email, and then it'll be ready to present to the UN in September. I think the General Assembly will be debating the Sustainable Development Goals on September 25, 26, 27. They'll then be adopted, and then they'll become the sort of the property of the world. And then governments and companies and individuals and churches and non-profits, voluntary organizations will then start thinking about, well, what does this mean for me? And how can I be helpful? Before we go to Bangkok, though, we're going to have a very important roundtable meeting in Kuala Lumpur at the International Islamic Institute, asking our Islamic colleagues, scholars, and religious leaders and others to guide us into what are the contributions that Islam can make to what is called the Ummah of humanity, all the people in the world, not just believers in Islam, for sustainable development, for the quality of their life, for well-being, for being good people and being able to live well and live virtuously. So I think we'll get some very interesting, very thoughtful and inspiring comments, which we will then incorporate. Our roundtable in China will be towards the end of August. Of course, the tradition of Chinese ethics and values goes back thousands of years. Confucius lived, más o menos 600 BC, and he wrote about responsibility of people towards each other, towards society. So again, there will be another very important ethical tradition, which speaks to the experiences, the psychology, the hopes and aspirations of a billion-plus people, will be incorporated into our work as well. But bringing all these ideas together is not necessarily easy, and some people may be disappointed because their particular point will be overlooked or not phrased in precisely the right way, but we will do our best.